Supporting veteran teachers is one of the most dynamic and potentially difficult jobs of a school leader. Veteran teachers have such varying needs. They come in different phases of their career. They are in need of different types of support, and they each have their own individual desires for what not only their career looks like, but how they contribute to the school's culture and to how the school supports student success. So in today's episode, we're going to continue our exploration of the framework in the schools our students deserve in specifically supporting leaders on how to support their veteran teachers.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Mario.
And this is the Ed Leadership Pair podcast. Let's jump in. Today, we are talking about our sprouts and our shadows.
The sprouts and the shadows. We get into the other side of the framework today.
Mm-hmm. We are going to use some of the literature that's framed in the book that I just wrote and was published this August. It's called The Schools Our Students Deserve. We're going to just give you some of the frameworks from inside of this book. We'll discuss how leaders can use this concept to support veteran teachers.
Today, we're going to dive in with a group that may require a little more care and attention, our sprouts and our shadows.
Connecting back to last week's episode, just a quick summary if you're just tuning into this episode and haven't had a chance to go back and listen to last week. The first two frames of our veteran teacher, it's really about all teachers, but we are looking at it through the lens of veteran teachers, are the scouts. These are innovation drivers, the teachers who what feeds and fuels them is the opportunity and the safety to innovate and try new things. The second frame were our sentinels. Our sentinels are also extremely talented, extremely effective educators, but instead of innovation, their desire is to maintain what has always worked here. These people understand our traditions, they know our institution, and they know what has brought us success in the past, and their mindset is about holding firm to what we know works. So last week we dived into how leaders can support those two types of veteran teachers. Really excited to dive into the next two frames.
All right, let's move on to number 3, which is our sprouts. Talk to us about the sprout persona a little bit.
Yeah, so sprouts are the teachers who share the school's values, right? So they're on board. These are people that are on board. I believe in Westwood High. I am all in on McNeil High. I just don't have the confidence or the skill set to be a scout. In other words, you're asking me to go try some new AI tools in my classroom, and I just am like, God, I barely know how to use a spreadsheet. So I'm all in. Like I believe in what we're doing for kids, but that I just am not comfortable with that thing. So that makes me a sprout because I'm growable. In other words, I'm not resisting it. Can somebody show me first? Somebody's got to figure it out. And then once somebody figures it out, come help me. I'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
So in veteran leadership, it's somebody who's changed a grade level, somebody who you moved to a different content area, somebody who now has EL learners for the first time. So in veteran leaders, we have to acknowledge that veteran leaders aren't veteran in everything, right? Just because I taught 20 years, you might have given me a new environment, or I might be dealing with a new crop of kids that I'm on board, but I might need to be in sprout zone right here, meaning I still need some growth and I need some people to pour into me because I don't quite know all the right answers at all the right times. Now, leaders, just quickly on sprouts. Most sprouts tend to be our more inexperienced teachers most of the time, right? I've only taught 2 years. I'm generally sprouty. I'm on board, but gosh, I'm still trying to figure out up from down. But sprouts can definitely be veteran teachers, especially when they're in a change type of environment.
When they're experiencing something new that is kind of rocking the world a little bit. Yeah. So it's a little bit of kind of the teachers who say, I will do it, I'll try it, but can somebody show me first? So it seems like for a sprout, a really great support for them would have methods of co-teaching what this is and a lot of modeling for them. And then they'll be able to come on board as they learn it and figure it out through that process.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the acronym PLC and the idea of like school-wide collaboration. So this is where PLC, I think, was really meant to be. Why wouldn't you put scouts in with sprouts? And if the goal of a PLC is we are collaborating together for the betterment of school and student outcomes, there it is right there. Hey, I got these EL learners. I've never taught EL learners, but the two of you are like master EL learners. What if we spent an hour on Wednesday and you pour into me? See, I'm not answering 4 questions. I'm not filling out forms, but that's PLC. It's school-wide collaboration for the betterment of the teachers and the ultimate outcomes for kids. So I think when you think of your sprouts, especially your veteran sprouts, what kind of collaborative team are they on? Who are they around that can pour into them and can help them grow? And it's not necessarily grow all the way around. It's like, I need help in this one
And then
in
one
this one
space.
area,
Mhm.
right? So maybe we have a meeting for 2 weeks about ELs, and I've been okay. I got it. I got enough right now. Let's not keep meeting about that. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go play with it in my classroom.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you're onto that. That pairing scouts and sprouts, and hey, even this sentinels. Sentinels do good things. Sentinels can help a sprout too. Now, the danger with the sentinel is, remember, if you try to get the sprout to do something new, the sentinel's not really going to be good at teaching them something new. But if you're trying to get the sprout to do something old that we do really well, there's no better person to put
Absolutely.
them with
Yeah.
than a veteran sentinel, right?
Yep.
Hey, we run a really strict discipline program here that works for our kids. I'm new to your school. At my last school, kids ran the school. It was wild. So I need to know how we do discipline here.
Yeah.
I don't need a scout. I need a good sentinel.
Mm.
Hey, bud, I'm going to take you under my wing. I will teach you exactly how we document, exactly how we collect data, exactly how we contact families. So when we say put sprouts with other veterans, it doesn't just mean a scout. A scout is good at trying new things. A sentinel is better at teaching us the ways of how we do that here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like for a sprout, what you're really doing is you are supporting them by helping them grow their confidence in whatever that area is. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I mean, and it's a very important part of research, which is called teacher self-efficacy, right? You're putting them in that opportunity for them to build their own efficacy because it's not a resistance. They're like, I'm on board. I just don't know how to do this very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's low teacher self-efficacy when they don't have confidence in their own ability. So then now put me around others to grow my self-efficacy. And you also talked about things like professional development opportunities. Sprouts are a magnificent candidate for professional development because they are seeking development, just like our scouts are, but our scouts are seeking like high level, try something new. Sometimes our sprouts are like, can you send me just to like Harry Wong 101? Now, anybody listening? Some people are like,
That's not
eating Harry Wong. Yeah, not everybody, but some of you know who Harry Wong was. He was like the guru of classroom management way back when we were
Yep. Rules and
entertained.
procedures.
Rules and procedures, classic. So, right, maybe the sprout doesn't need to go to AI training. The sprout might be like, hey, I just need to tighten something that's just real classic, right?
And I'm good. I want to do it. I just don't know how to. So I need to be taught.
Yeah, so filling the buckets of your sprouts, if you've got a veteran sprout, it's like they want help. They're all in. They want to be part of the school. And I mean, I can remember so many teachers that used to come to me and like, I want to help. Where can I help? What committee can I get on? And it's like, you're not talented enough yet for me to give you this in total, but I can pair you in with that committee because I got 3 scouts and 2 sentinels on this committee. Yeah, we could use somebody like you that wants to learn and wants to grow. Because here's the thing, Court, a sprout who spends time learning and growing is going to turn into a scout that we can leverage into the future.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's move on to the fun one, right? And this one, we're not talking about the shadows in a romantasy book. We are talking about veteran teachers that are our shadows. I threw him off with that one. He didn't know I was going to come out with that.
Romantic.
Anybody reading Quicksilver, Brimstone? You know what I'm talking about. Not those kind of shadows. Nope.
Yeah, Court is going to ruin our YouTube rating. We try hard not to end up. Yeah, YouTube's about to knock us down a peg of rating because of these romanticities that.
So I've heard. I don't know.
Not you, but some.
Let them message me if you want to chat about the books.
Hit Courtney up on our DMs. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. She will take a DM about a romantasy as long as it stays above board, everybody, because that's your husband's super beer.
All right, let's move into shadows. Talking about the teacher
This
shadows.
is the 4th frame of the framework in the schools our students deserve. And shadows are members of the school culture who have slipped into a resistance that is based on their own individual need. In other words, they have no longer placed the values of the school or the needs of the kids or the needs of their colleagues at the center. This is now strictly about their own individual personal priorities or needs. So if you'll remember, Dr. Muhammad taught us that in every culture there are resistors. And what I learned is that those resistors sort into two categories. Sentinels are resisting for the good of the school. Shadows are resisting for the good of themselves. And the hard truth for leaders is the shadows will suck the life out of the entire culture. These people are a danger to the organization because if shadows are allowed to have their way, and if our priority becomes what's good for the individual, then all your systems and everything you do will fall apart. So leaders, when it comes to shadows, unfortunately, these people must be dealt with directively. This is going to be far less about professional development. This is going to be far less about teaming. This is going to be far less about sending you to a conference
And
because
collaboration.
they don't care. None of that matters. It's not better for me. Why don't I want to collect data on kids? Because that's not good for me. It's too hard. Why don't I want to be in a PLC? Because I don't want to talk to other people. It's not good for me. I don't like it. Why don't I want to improve my instructional practices? Because I laminated my lesson plan 7 years ago, and I use that same lesson on the second Tuesday of March, and I'm not going to take the time to unlaminate it.
Oh, so painful.
Those are shadowy tells. And you know what's really painful? People say those words to me as a guest when I go visit schools. I've had teachers look me in the eye and say, hey, what you're presenting it makes sense.
Like in 2026.
Yeah, like this year. And like what you're presenting makes sense. I can see how the students need this or their brains need that. But you know what? My lesson plans are done. I've laminated my stuff for the year. So maybe I'll look at it for next year. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Said to me. And I, because I don't work for school systems anymore, it's really hard for me not to just completely fly off the handle. Right? When you work for a school system, like you have to behave. I'm like, I never do, but in my brain, and it's insane. That's shadowy behavior. Do you have any experience with shadows in all of your leadership? Inuvid, can you tell us the shadow story or two?
Yeah, I have many, many shadow stories. The one that makes me kind of laugh though is as you were talking, it came to my head. I remember this year having a meeting with our ETAC, the Teacher Advisory Committee at Edmentum, and they were asking me, it was some some new policy that we had to put into place because a shadow had made a really poor decision. And the person in ETAC, the teacher was like, why, why would this be a policy? I don't understand why we would even have to do this before. Why would you even think that a teacher would do that? And in the back of my head, I'm like, because somebody did. So anyway, it was just funny to me because I was like, yeah, somebody did that. And that's why there is a policy in place. And the group was shocked. They were just absolutely, what? Somebody would do that? I can't believe somebody would do that. No, yeah, it's not normal. It's not the largest percentage of your faculty that behaves this way, that is this level of selfish, but it does happen. It absolutely happens. And it's, I had a teacher that teachers that refuse to teach a certain prep because they don't want to be with those kids. They don't want that level of student, or a teacher that refused to not teach all of the AP courses in a certain grade because that's what they've taught forever. And again, that's what they're comfortable teaching. And so they want to give the new teachers all the students who might struggle and need the most levels of intervention and the highest level of expertise as a teacher. And they want to feel like they can give all those really tougher classes to teach because of what's needed to new teachers. And that's really selfish. When I think about the shadows, I'm thinking about like the selfish teachers, just to put it really bluntly, the ones that are in it for themselves, that want whatever's easiest for them. And there are definitely examples of that, but I also have to go back and remind myself, if I really looked at every year that I've worked with teachers, what percentage of teachers are actually like that? And it's very low.
Very low.
Very few teachers that are that level of selfish actually get into teaching, into the profession, because it's not like we're making gobs of money hand over fist. It's not like it is a selfless job by nature. So it's not a lot of teachers that fall into this category, but it definitely happens. And I have definitely had to protect my campus when it came to addressing issues like this. And this is when it comes into the importance of holding people accountable whose behaviors do not manifest in the way that you expect your culture to be. And so for me as a leader, yes, I had these people. It always was just really obvious, selfish people, and they had to be addressed. And it had to be swift. You could not let them sit in this behavior and continue to like rot and fester within your culture and in your community, because the other thing that I think they like to do is they like to feel justified and can pull people in with them. And that's where it gets really dangerous, is if they start to infest the rest of your staff, or if they try to, then it can get really dangerous.
That is 100% the danger, is that shadows will infect the culture if left unchecked. So you described it, I think, perfectly well, is that administrators, leaders listening, shadows have to be dealt with directively. You must come at them head on, and their behavior must be stopped. You
Yeah.
cannot behave that way. But let me put a wrinkle in here, because I've seen this a lot traveling around the country. You are correct that most teachers aren't shadowy by nature, because it's not a shadowy type profession. But what has happened, and I've seen this in a lot of schools, when leadership turns over frequently, principal after principal after principal after principal, what happens is the sentinels, they start to get real salty, and they turn from sentinelism to shadowdom, because it's the only way they can survive. It becomes them against the world. And so a new leader walks in, and almost there are no sentinels. The shadows have formed out of like a callus of trauma. And so if you think about it, when I say trauma, I mean small t. Obviously, there are bigger things in life than you have this leadership turnover. But on a teacher camp, if you think teachers, year over year over year, new principal, new principal, new principal, new initiatives, new principal, they start to harden and callous, and you can end up with a large portion of your staff being shadows, not because they are shadowy by nature, but because that environment has turned them into shadows.
Yeah, which then I could see that feeds the leadership turnover, because
Yes.
it's way too hard of a job to keep fighting these shadows when it is a mass of teachers. I could see that happening for sure. That makes sense.
Yep. And within the last 6
Yeah.
weeks, I was on a campus where this is exactly what's happening. And
Mm.
there's a really good leader, and she said to me, using these four frame metaphors, she said, "Okay, I realize what's going on. I don't really have sentinels, because my shadows have bullied everybody. I have people who want to scout, but they won't scout because they're getting called out by these shadows.
Ah,
They're getting picked on and bullied."
that's
And
heartbreaking.
yeah, so this principal said, "Okay, now that I realize, you've helped me realize who my people are." Again, that's why a framework can be so helpful, right? This principal was able to take all that invisible stuff and start to name who's who and why they are who they are. And she said, "Okay, now I know what to do." She said, "I'm not going to let the shadows win. We're going to wrestle this culture back from them, and we're going to rebuild it. And when we rebuild it, we're going to re-invite them back in, and they probably won't be shadow anymore.
Yeah.
They'll probably snap out of it and re-find their place in
She
the
needs
culture."
a sunshine corner.
Yeah,
She needs a
needs-
sunshine corner.
She needs a lot of things, but leaders, when you're dealing with veteran shadows, what I would say you need to do is, I'm going to give you 3 options for your shadows. All right. This is tangible in the mud. Here's what you do. Option 1, if you're resisting and you refuse to do what we want you to do, then you can resist as long as you're really good at your job. See, the problem with shadows is they're not usually good teachers.
Mm.
So I used to say, like, I'll take resistance from sentinels, because why is a sentinel resisting? They're really good, and they're trying to convince me that the way they do it is good.
Yeah.
I will take that all day long. But if you're a shadow and you're trying to resist and argue with me, you can't argue with me if you suck. So the first thing I used to say to shadows was, hey, you want to resist? Get better. Earn the right to resist, because right now you suck. You can't say that, right, leaders? But you got to deliver that message. If you want to resist, you have to earn the right to resist by being good with kids in the classroom. So that's option one. Option number two, you suck. Get on board with us. Quit resisting. I will help you get better. A lot of times shadows slip into shadowdom because they have had such failure over time that they lose confidence in themselves, and they turn into negative beings. So if you say, look, it's okay that you're not, like, I get that you're struggling, but just get on board with me. Quit fighting me. I'll develop you, right? Basically turn into a sprout. So that's option two. Quit resisting. It's okay that you're not good at this. We'll help you and create that safe space. Option number three, get the hell out of here, right? You're not maybe a bad human, but you cannot exist in this culture. We'll find you a different tribe. We'll find you another place to be. And in the episode with our mentor, Dr. Phil Warwick, he talked about sometimes you just have to help people find a better fit. Sometimes with the shadows, that's the third option, right? Find a better fit. So either get better and earn the right to resist, stop resisting, option two, and we'll help you get better, or option three, you got to find a better place to be for you.
You know, can I talk about my mom for just a minute, who was a longtime secondary principal, middle school level, and an administrator at the district level as well. And I remember she told me when she had teachers like this that were this difficult, one of my favorite quotes that she would say was letting them know in their conversation about a growth plan, just putting it out there, I will be furniture in your classroom. Just
Yes.
that level of accountability. I will be furniture in your classroom and nothing will slide. And I remember that has stuck with me for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. Just that idea of being that level of holding people accountable.
And you think about our sweet Gigi, and she was
Gigi.
tough. Gigi was
Gigi
was
was hardcore. You
Yeah.
people see Gigi as just Gigi. I saw Susan's former principal and assistant superintendent. That's who I was raised by.
it's a great thing. So leaders, that just close off the fourth frame. Your shadows are dangerous. They are really, really detrimental to your organization. And here's the thing. All the other members of the organization are sitting there watching you. Are you going to deal with this person? And in an episode, 3 or 4 episodes back, we talked about accountability. We talked about leaders holding people accountable. It's at this moment with veteran shadows that they have to be helped to get better, helped to get on board, or helped to get out of the organization. Because if you don't, the rest of your school is watching you, and you lose trust, and you lose credibility, and you lose the ability to lead the rest of your staff if you don't hit the shadows head on.
And can I just add, for the principal that you were talking about that identified that, oh my God, I lost my sentinels to all the shadows. What great observation she had on her part to have known her staff well enough to see that that's what was happening. Once she had the framework, it sounds like she was able to quickly identify, oh, that's what it is, because she spent time learning the culture, getting to know her staff, understanding where they were coming from and what had been going on, this turnover or whatever it was that caused it. She knew them enough to be able to identify where the rot was coming from. And good on her. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's good leadership.
I was with her and her team, and they got on their whiteboard, and they took the 4 frames. They drew a 4, like a Punnett square, and they just started. Oh, okay, yeah, and they just started going at it.
What a moment! What a moment! And the light, I could just imagine light bulbs going off in the room, going, "This is what happened."
Yeah, we saw it on the board. It was a lot of shadows and some powerful people. And she was like, that's why I can't get anything to move, because the shadows are just bullying everybody.
Yeah.
So she realized, I got to cut them off. I got to go after them and then create the safety for my sentinels to sentinel again, for my scouts to scout again. So yeah, it was a fun light bulb moment. And again, that's why I designed the resource. So if you're listening and you're like, God, I got to get my hands on that. The schools our students deserve. It's built into there. It's one of the features of the book, is turning the invisible part of your culture visible through the people that are on your campus, through who's here and how are they manifesting in their interactions with the culture.
Yeah, thank you. So through the conversation that we've had, one of the things that is coming to light for me is that one thing a lot of leaders don't understand is that it's not about them being the center of the school. The leader is not the son. The veteran teachers make up the culture that is the son. And so I think we have to be really aware of our teams, of our teachers, our entire faculty, and of course, most importantly, the culture as a whole, where it is, where we aspire for it to be, what that picture of success looks like, and really give support to our veteran teachers in the way that they need it as individuals.
That is it, right? If we'll foster their needs, Scout, Sentinel, Sprout, and even Shadow has needs. They need to be pulled out of the shadows. So if those veterans make up the center of our universe, right, the culture, then we as leaders, now we know how to leverage the people. How do you foster your scouts? How do you foster your sentinels? So we're never going to be the center of the universe in education. Leaders are not, but we can leverage the center of the universe. It's our most powerful tool. The better I am at leveraging my solar system, the more I can create the outcomes that my vision is for
Yeah.
our kids and for our community.
Man, this is a conversation I wish I had had as a principal, and it's not something. Yes, I had Anthony Muhammad's book, but I think the importance of those resistors coming out even further into the idea of sentinels and shadows would have been really helpful to me. So, of course, I'm a fan of the book, but
You better
I
be.
also love the author. But I want to say to our listeners and our watchers on YouTube, if this conversation resonated with you, share the episode with another school leader.
Yeah, and if you want to dive further into the concepts here, again, the book is called The Schools Our Students Deserve. You can find it at marzanoresources.com. And listen, guys, this is what I do for a living now. Courtney references it all the time. So if you say, hey, Dr. Acosta, we need that, please, reach out to us at our website, www.theedleadershippair.com, and I can continue to partner with you and your schools if this is the type of work you think you need. We appreciate you listening to another episode, and we hope you found some valuable insights today in this content. So we'll sign off. I'm Mario.
I'm Courtney. This is the Ed Leadership Pair podcast.
Thanks for listening.